Today we begin the book of 2 Samuel, and in the Hebrew Bible, it's just Samuel. It's all one book, and so the action simply continues. And unfortunately, we continue to deal with battles and bloodshed and violence. And in the beginning of 2 Samuel, there is a man who comes. He's an Amalekite, and he comes and he reports to David that the army is defeated and that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead. And David basically wants to know, well, how do you know? And the man says, well, I was there. And he says that Saul asked him, Saul was leaning on his spear and asked the man to kill him because he was mortally wounded and he did not want to be captured. And so this man who was an Amalekite does what Saul asks him to do and takes his life, and he brings the crown and the amulet of the king, and he delivers them to David. Now, how would you respond if you were David in that situation? Would you express your gratitude for relaying this very difficult news and for bringing the crown and the armband so that they didn't fall into enemy hands? That's not how David responds. David has the man killed for killing the Lord's anointed. And then he lifts up a eulogy. And part of what he says, our verse for the day is verse 19 of chapter 1. Your glory, O Israel, lies slain upon your high places. How the mighty have fallen. That phrase, oh, how the mighty have fallen, is one of those phrases that has come from the Bible that's survived in literature, just like the phrase, a good Samaritan. There's a lot of phrases we use in our language that actually have their roots in the Bible, and we don't even know that, or we don't know where they come from. But if you look in your Bible in 1 Samuel 1:17 to 27, you can see some of David's eulogy. And as you all know, I have the privilege of officiating at many, many memorials and funeral services, and part of what I try to do is you try to share some about the person and to encapsulate a little of who they were and what was important to them. And that is what David does in his brief eulogy in 2 Samuel chapter 1. And he speaks of Saul and Jonathan, beloved and lovely, in life and in death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. He speaks very affirmatively and about them, and then encourages people to weep and to mourn. Again, we hear that repeated phrase, how the mighty have fallen, in verse 25 and verse 27. And this is what I want to leave you with. In verse 26, David says of his best friend, I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. Greatly beloved were you to me. Your love to me was wonderful, passing the love of a woman. What a tremendous statement of loyalty and devotion and friendship. It's hard to lose your closest friend, as David did. But I pray that you will think of your friends and tell them now how much they mean to you. Don't wait until they're gone.